Okay, go ahead.
Welcome to the American Medical Association presentation. The founding of the American Medical Association started with the New York Medical Association signing a resolution in 1845 calling for a national medical convention. That convention led to the founding of the AMA in 1847. Originally, the goals of the AMA were scientific advancement, standards for medical education, improved public health, and launching a program of medical ethics. Today, we have a few different groups in the organization. The first group is the Board of Trustees. It is the top leadership group, and it helps the AMA shape a better, healthier future for patients, physicians, and the country as a whole. Each member of the board is supposed to place the AMA's interests above his or her own. As far as the leadership in the Board of Trustees, we've got the president, Andrew W. Gurman, MD, and the chair, Patrice A. Harris, MD, MA. Senior management, they are the ones that manage the day-to-day operations of the AMA. We've got the CEO, James L. Madara, MD. That's his picture there. And we also have a COO, Bernard L. Hingisbaugh, a CSO, Kenneth J. Sherigjian, and a CFO, Denise M. Haggerty. They have quite a few others, but those are the senior ones there. Also, they have what's called a House of Delegates, often referred to as the HOD. They are the principal policy-making body of the AMA, and they're made up of delegates from over 170 different societies. They're somewhat like the legislature of the US government. They're the ones that they basically meet twice a year, and they establish policies on health, medical, professional, and governance matters. There are also councils. They have lots of different councils. Each council handles a different aspect of the AMA, different topics, different sections. But basically, these councils will perform research and then provide reports and recommendations to the HOD, senior management, and the Board of Trustees, who then make the final decisions.
So who does the AMA represent? According to the American Medical Association, the AMA represents its registered physician members. This also includes medical students who are currently in an educational program accredited by the Liaison Committee on Medical Education. The AMA provides the tools necessary for these professionals to keep up with the fast pace of the ever-changing world of medicine through published research and advocacy. Another side of this story, though, others, including a large number of physicians, say that the AMA represents the government as they have become their main customer. The AMA is careful not to report where their revenue comes from, but it has been shown that most of their income comes from the CPT coding system, which is copyrighted by the AMA. This is the only coding system that is permitted to be used. This is the only system the doctors can use in order to be reimbursed by Medicare, Medicaid, and other insurances as well. Okay, next slide. Who is eligible to be a member of the AMA? Physicians who have a United States degree of Doctor of Medicine or a Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine or a recognized international equivalent are eligible to be a member. Resident physicians who have the United States degree of MD or DO and are serving in residencies or fellowships approved by the American College of Graduate Medical Education or the American Osteopathic Association are eligible. And then medical students enrolled in an educational program provided by a College of Medicine or Osteopathic Medicine. This also includes students who are on a sabbatical, provided they are in good standing upon returning from the sabbatical. Okay, next. That one is not mine, so.
Is that Judy's?
Why don't you just be willing to read through that for Judy?
Sure, I
I
can do
can
that.
do that. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Okay. Advocacy groups, also known as pressure groups, lobby groups, campaign groups, interest groups, or special interest groups, use various forms of advocacy to influence public opinion and/or policy. They have played and continue to play an important part in the development of political and social systems. The AMA is the United States' largest advocacy group and the nation's most recognizable organization for physicians. The American Medical Association is an association of engaged physicians who have trusted connections to millions of patients. The AMA is a leading voice that informs, guides, and generates support for policies that advance meaningful initiatives, ones that address the concerns most relevant to all patients and physicians. The AMA works with physicians to reduce regulatory burdens and promote healthcare delivery models that support physicians in doing what's most important to them, providing high-quality care to their patients. Throughout its history, the AMA has been actively involved in a variety of medical policy issues, from Medicare and HMOs to public health and climate change. Between 1998 and 2017, the AMA spent $358,282,000 on lobbying, second only to the American Chamber of Commerce. I'll read this one, I guess. There are 923,308 physicians licensed in the United States. The membership of AMA in 2017 is approximately 224,014 physicians. The AMA spends more on lobbying than any other medical specialty society or splinter group. The AMA accounts for less than 25% of practicing physicians as members, down from 75% in the 1950s. The AMA has experienced a steady decline over the years, even though some years showed an increase in membership. Since the latter part of the 20th century and into the 21st century, the numbers have remained between 20 and 30%. 2017 AMA areas of interest are the health system reform, Medicare physician payment reform, regulatory relief, reversing the nation's opioid epidemic, drug pricing, prior authorization, and provider networks and meaningful coverage.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So what policies do the AMA support? In 2008, the AMA issued a policy in supporting the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, and their latest findings towards global warming. They also issued a statement towards appropriate and compassionate use of animals in biomedical research programs. Also includes that they that they oppose the actions of other groups that impede on such research, such as some actions from animal rights groups and its opposition to legislation that unduly restricts such research. The AMA's Office of Alcohol and Other Drug Abuse Foundation in promoting reduction of alcoholic beverages, advertising, and an increase of alcoholic beverage taxes. This organization was founded by the AMA, and its initial goal was for communities to work together to reduce situations and environments that encourages high-risk binge drinking in schools and colleges. Supported the War on Drugs campaign, providing medical rationale to clamp down on marijuana use during the 1990s. They also supported the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act as a step towards providing health insurance coverage for all Americans. The AMA also approved a resolution lauded by the Human Rights Campaign, which is the largest LGBT civil rights advocacy group and political lobbying organization in the United States, by declaring no medically valid reason to exclude transgender individuals from service in the U.S. military. So, next slide. All right. So, what policies are the AMA against? During the 1950s and the 1960s, the AMA launched a campaign against the funding of Medicare involving the Operation Coffee Cup, started by Ronald Reagan. And the AMA, and during this campaign, when Medicare was passed, in order for it to, let me see, where is it right here? Okay. Since the enactment of Medicare, the AMA reversed its position and now opposes any cut to Medicare funding or shift of increased costs to beneficiaries at the expense of the quality or care plan that might enact a national health service, such as the United States National Health Care Act. In 2009, the AMA opposed the public plan developed by President Barack Obama and the Democratic Party. In 2017, this year, the AMA opposed the Republican health plan out of concern that millions of Americans losing coverage and benefits.
All right, great work. The American Medical Association is a really interesting topic. So yeah, good work. You covered the topic well. It's really interesting to see that surprisingly how little, I guess, of the population of physicians that it covers. I thought that was quite interesting too. But I'm going to ask each of you the same question. We'll just start with Jennifer and then work our way across. What was the most interesting thing that you learned as you were studying this topic?
That was the most interesting thing too, was that actually the fact that I found was that only 17%, so not even 24% of doctors belong to the AMA, because a lot of them don't believe in what they are lobbying for. My research was a little different, I guess, because I found that the AMA pushed for Obamacare, and they wanted individuals to be fined through their taxes if they did not have required health insurance. And that's one reason the doctors don't join the AMA, because they don't believe in that. And they also wanted to increase federal control of private health plans. So just as a consumer, the American Medical Association, I would assume that every doctor I went to belonged to that for some reason, and they don't. And their fees to join and that are $200 or $300 for a year. So it's not even that it's it's not hard for them to join just by paying money. They just decide not to.
Yeah. Great, thank you. All right, Julia.
I was pretty impressed in several things. For one thing, I was very impressed in the organization itself and how it's organized according to the CEO, and then it's organized in other in smaller ways, how it branches out and how each group is for a particular organization. It kind of reminds me, in a sense, kind of like the First Presidency or the church, in the sense how things are organized. It may not be as perfect as the churches, but it just kind of impressed me how it's so big, and so they have to branch it out in order to of such a expansive organization. And I guess another thing that really kind of shocked me, how quick the AMA, I guess they're kind of willing to change their policy positions according to it says right here, like particularly according to the Medicare. though that they were opposed to Medicare, even though that it was passed anyway. They reversed they were any cut to Medicare, any funding to it. And so I just found that it's interesting.
Definitely. All right, Rich.
Well, for me, I was studying the organization part of it. Around the same time, we were learning some of the healthcare administration stuff too. How the boards work and all that. And it struck me that it's very similar. It seems to be that the AMA has a lot of similarities with hospitals and other healthcare organizations. One thing that is different is they do have the HOD, where they have delegates from all sorts of different societies. And that kind of struck me as being similar to the U.S. government with the House of Representatives or the Senate. And then also the councils tend to be a little bit like that too, both with the board, because the boards have their own councils, and also the U.S. government also will have different cabinet positions which are more focused on specific things, and then they report up, give recommendations and everything. So that was really interesting to me how the organization was put together.
Definitely. Awesome. Well, great work. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording, but hang on here for just a sec.